Hey guys, I'm back. Here's the MLSO. It's about well, we got a lot of missing stuff in here. 18 jumps to 23, jumps to 0, jumps to 1. So between 18 or 19 and 23, I don't know. It chose not to show us what happened there. Here's all the objects moving around, large objects, which I think are planets, and these are maybe these concentric rings maybe represent some type of magnetosphere or some type of reflection from the photography element being used. Not sure. That one looks to be the biggest, has the largest center mass. I had a thought the other day, and I changed up my hypothesis number one. Well, I didn't change it up, but I updated it for you to try and include everything that's been going on. And I had a thought that perhaps that big planet that's been blocking the ACE data relay, like a 10-hour gap, pretty much every day for the last several months, is maybe it's hiding behind this occlusion disk on the MLSO. So there we have it again, 10-hour gap, 2200 UTC to almost 0800. 9+ hour gap. Here's Discover the last 24 hours. Finally, we got that backside connection reestablished with Nemesis. As anything above 180 indicates a phi angle of 180 or above indicates some type of a connection with the Earth to a solar body behind the planet. And as you can see, around 0400 UTC today, so that would have been 11 p.m. last night, established a solid connection up in the 300s or high 290s, low 300s, high 290s, and that seems to be pretty solid right now. Solar wind density, that came way up. Enlil was predicting somewhere around 12 or 13, went up to 35, 37. 37, almost 38. Click this lower box down here so you can see all this stuff a lot clearer. Then it started coming down when we made that backside connection with Nemesis. Came down to 20, 16, 15, and it dropped again to 897. I'm looking at these numbers in the orange. It looks like it's climbing back up again. It's back up into the low 20s. Oh, and it's up to 32 there. 3311, last number. Now that's not good. Hard to explain exactly what the heck, but you see here, this is the Enlil prediction that they put out. Here's the Earth, pretty much about this time. You got the solar wind density, it's below 15, somewhere around 12 or 13. Plasma, supposed to be 4 to 6 atoms per cubic centimeter, and the solar wind speed, that's coming up to around 400, which that's about right. It's a little low. I think with this backside connect, it's pushing back toward the sun with more voltage pressure, and that's perhaps causing this solar wind density to go up, as it was right about where it was supposed to be until I think Nemesis started making its push. So I think what happened was the voltage pressure from Nemesis was starting to become greater, pushing back toward our sun. So it caused the solar wind density to start rising, piling up back there, being measured by the ACE and Discover satellites out here at the L1 Lagrange point, 930,000 miles in front of the planet. So there was like a little delay, but when the Nemesis started exerting more voltage pressure, the solar wind speed, or the solar wind density started coming up, and then when it finally got established, came down a little bit, but now it's going back up again. So I don't know. We definitely got some heavy solar wind pressure hitting the planet right now, density rather. And this is the pressure, pretty high on the pressure too, front and back. This is the last 3 or 4 hour run on geospace. You can see it's building. The further along we get, there's that density coming in. It's been showing up there on Discover. Here's the density last 3 or 4 hours. This is what really worries me, is this backside density. That's really climbing too. The darker the color, the more density. So not only are we getting hit, and it's even flattening out the magnetopause here with density, solar wind density coming from the front, we're also getting hit with pretty considerable levels of density coming from Nemesis from behind. So just pray that the planet holds up, man. The magnetosphere. Velocity, that's not really that remarkable. So getting back to my latest epiphany, if you will, I think that big planet that's been blocking all that data on the ACE satellite for many months prior to October 16th, and then when it passed, blocking it on the data relay side between the satellite and Earth, showing 10-hour gaps, 8 to 11-hour gaps daily. I think it's hiding behind this occlusion disk. So this is what I'm talking. Here's the solar ham space weather tutorial that links in my description box. This pretty much explains all the stuff you're seeing on these graphs: phi angle, density, solar wind speed, temperature, and then this is the magnetic angles coming from the sun. And this one pretty much corresponds, the red one supposed to correspond to the blue phi angle, but now that we have Nemesis in the picture, if it's 0 degrees, the phi angle, the blue, it means the connection's pointing from Earth to the sun. And if it's 180, it's pointing from the sun back to the Earth. So obviously you can see that it's well above 180 again. And we have a strong backside connection with Nemesis. Solar wind speed's coming up, so that should be pushing this. So that's pushing the density forward from the sun, and Nemesis volt pressure from behind with this strong backside connection is causing it to pile up. So let's hope it doesn't pile up too much more than that. I'll have to keep an eye on it. Here's the latest 300 frames. We had a small Nemesis solar wind speed, high wind speed event that was around 2200. It just went past, but it only went up to 900 kilometers per second for a few frames, so maybe about 10 minutes. Here's the Falk radiation belts. We got to worry about this backside bow shock. It's going to hold off all that solar wind density coming from Nemesis being pushed into the back side that I just showed you on geospace. You can see at 4 million electron volts, which indicates the presence of a star, because normal cosmic radiation is nowhere near that level. You can see that it's getting black and purple, but for the most part it's whitening out back here behind the Earth. So that means there's a lot of electron volts coming in, and you see it's getting broken up from time to time, allowing more and more of it to bleed in around the planet. Thankfully, our atmosphere keeps us from experiencing this gamma radiation down at the surface, but if you see purple skies or pink or green skies, that means the oxygen and nitrogen molecules are being stripped of atoms, or electrons rather, stripped of electrons, and that's called ionization, which begins to occur at 100,000 electron volts. That's why I got these two graph simulations up here. And at 4 million, wow, like I said, it just reaches into the upper reaches of our furthest outmost atmosphere. And when the oxygen and nitrogen get ionized, when electrons get stripped, you might see some purple skies or green or even pink skies. And I explored that and covered that, well back around in December, I believe, if you go back through my videos. But you can see here everything's whited out, so I think this electron volts are considerably higher than 4 million, because this thing's not even able to read them. You can see we got some violent stuff going on here. There's Nemesis pushing its way in with these blue magnetic interplanetary magnetic field lines. Earth's looking pretty weak as far as the polar cap field lines, are fewer and further between. They're getting darkening up a little bit here and there, but so you'll see the high speed event coming up here at 22 something. There's 8, 8, 9, 8, 9, 8. So maybe it was more of like about 20 minutes or half an hour, but nowhere above 1,000. And Earth's polar cap field lines are being able to close, turn red, and ward off some of this backside pressure. You can see the density piling up out here, the orange waves of it coming through. There's the IMF field lines peeking in from those other planets or big planet or planets that are out in front of the Earth. But everything's looking kind of lazy. But obviously from this and from that geospace where I showed you the density, it's not that lazy. Get some serious activity going on around the planet, front and back. So we're definitely in a bit of a squeeze play here, solar wind density wise anyway. Thankfully the solar wind speed's not that high coming from the sun or from Nemesis. They're pretty much equaling each other out at this point. So we'll just have to see how much the density builds out here at the yellow and the greenish point. It went back down there. That's a good thing. Went back down to 1950. So hopefully won't be too bad. I'll just let these play through for you. You can check them out. Just running out of time. Keep monitoring this stuff. I looked at it a few times yesterday. Didn't warrant a video. So anyway, Thanks for listening. God bless and peace. And I'm out.